Hello, my dear learners, my dear viewers. This is Mohammad Azharul Islam GL from Barrister Jamiluddin Sokar Collegiate School, online school. Welcome to our online school. We are going to learn a new topics about new topics, and this is active to passive in different tenses. Active to passive, we know there are 12 tenses, and according to the tenses, how can we change active to passive, we will discuss today. Let's try to discuss active to passive. We know tenses are of 12 form. We know indefinite are of 3: present indefinite, past indefinite, future indefinite. And we also know continuous forms are of 6: present continuous, present perfect continuous, past continuous, past perfect continuous, future continuous, future perfect continuous. And perfect forms are of 3: present perfect, past perfect, and future perfect. So there are 12 forms of tenses, and today we will learn active to passive in 12 tenses. Firstly, active to passive in present indefinite and past indefinite. We know in active voice, the sentence begins with subject, then verb in present form. Verb in present form, or verb takes is or is, or verb in past form. Then object. When the verb after the subject, the verb is in the present form, then it is in the present indefinite tense, active voice, and or is, then we must know it is present indefinite tense in the. And if the verb is in the past indefinite tense, past form, then we must know it is in the past indefinite tense. And then object. So in this case, the form will be changed according to I repeat again, when verb is in the present form, then it is in the present indefinite, or as yes, then it is in the present indefinite. But when the verb is in the past form, then it is in the past indefinite tense. So now we can change active to passive. The object will be the subject. The object will be the subject. the object of the active voice will be the subject in the passive voice. Then if the verb is in the present indefinite, then we must use am, is, are as auxiliary verb. Am, is, are. If this tense is in the present indefinite tense, or if the verb is in the present form, or yes, we must put here am, is, are after the subject in the passive voice. Am, is, are. And if the verb is in the past form, and we know it is past indefinite tense, then we must use was, where as auxiliary verb. I repeat, if the verb is in the present form and or yes, then it is in the present indefinite tense, then we must use as auxiliary verb am, is, are according to person. And if the verb is in the past form and it is in the past indefinite tense, then we must use was, where as auxiliary verb according to the person. And we know in the passive voice verb is always in the past participle form. In the passive voice, the main verb, the principal verb will be in the past participle form. So this verb will be changed into past participle form. Verb in the past participle, VPP, verb in the past participle. Then the subject will be the object. The subject will be the object, and before the object we must use by. Sometimes we can use to add with that according to the verb. So this is the structure. The object will be the subject, and after the subject, according to present indefinite, if the sentence is in the present indefinite, then we must use am, is, are as auxiliary verb according to person. And if the verb is in the past indefinite, then we must use was, where as auxiliary verb according to person. And the main verb, the principal verb, will be the past participle form. And the subject will be the object, and before the object we must put a preposition by. So this is the, now let's see an example. Shumi writes a letter. Here writes, now yes or yes, so it is in the present indefinite tense. So a letter and auxiliary verb we must use am, is, are. So a letter third person singular number, so we must use is. And write will be written. Write will be written. And Shumi, by Shumi. By Shumi. And if we change it into past indefinite tense, if we change it here, wrote, and Shumi wrote a letter, then it is the past indefinite tense. So the auxiliary verb was or where. So Shumi, a letter, third person singular number, so was. Shumi wrote a letter. A letter was written by Shumi. This is the example. Let's see the other structure of continuous form. This is in the present indefinite and past indefinite, and we will discuss future indefinite later after the continuous and perfect form. So now let's see the structure of continuous form. The structure of continuous form: subject, then we know continuous form means some helping verb after the subject there will be some helping verb and the verb takes ing. Verb is in the ing form. So here some auxiliary verb, here some helping verb and the main verb takes ing. The main verb is in the ing form, then object. This is in the continuous form. And which kind of continuous form? What kind of continuous form? We must recognize it according to the auxiliary verb, helping verb. If there is emitter and verb take ing, then it is present continuous. If there is have been, has been and verb takes ing, then it is in the present perfect continuous. If there is was, were and the verb takes ing, then past continuous. If there is had been and verb takes ing, then past perfect continuous. If there is shall be, will be and verb takes ing, future continuous. If there is shall have been, will have been and verb takes ing, future perfect continuous. So this is the continuous form. If verb takes ing, if verb in the ing form, then we must recognize, we must remember, we must know that it is in the continuous form. So continuous form, we know object will be the subject. This is passive voice. Object will be the subject and the verb here, auxiliary verb is the same, will be the same, and according to person will be the same. If there is emitter, there will be emitter. If there is was, were, there will be was. So and verb has ing. So ing, we remove it ing, we must put here being, and the verb will be, the main verb will be in the past participle form, past participle form. So the helping verb is here, then as there is ing in the verb, so removing the ing, we must use being after the helping verb. Then the main verb will be past participle form, and then subject will be the object, and before the object we must put preposition by. This is, I repeat, this is in the present, this is in the present continuous or past continuous or present perfect continuous, any one of the continuous form, as there is ing in the verb. So, and we must remember that according to the helping verb, we must know what kind of continuous it is. So, then object will be the subject here, and the auxiliary will be the same after according to person, and if as there is ing, so removing the ing, we must put being, being, being after the helping verb. Then main verb will be in the past participle form, and the subject will be the object. Before the object we must put by. Let's see example. Suman is flying a kite. Here kite is object, Suman is subject. So a kite will be the subject, a kite. Here is, and the according to person, a kite is a singular noun, singular and third person singular. So is will be here, and as there is ing, so is takes being, and the verb will be in the past participle form, flown, and a kite is being flown by Suman. But if there is, if the sentence is in the past continuous, then here in the was. If there is was, here was. If there is had been, if Suman had been flying a kite. So this is the same. A kite had been being flown by Suman. This is the continuous form. Let's try to change active to PC another form. Past perfect. Past perfect, present perfect, past perfect. That means perfect form. That means perfect form. Here subject. Then there will be some auxiliary verb, and the main verb will be in the past participle form, and then object. And if the verb is in the past participle form, we must know that it is in the past perfect or present perfect or future perfect, or that means it is in the perfect form, any kind of tense. So past, and how can you know it is present perfect or perfect? If there is have been, has been, then it is in the past present perfect. If there is had been, it is in the past perfect. If there is shall have, will have, it is in the past future perfect tense. So the passive structure is object will be the subject, the main verb, the auxiliary verb will be the same here, and as the verb is in the past participle form, so after the helping verb we must put been. We must put been. If we recognize it, it is in the perfect form, any kind of tense, then we must put been, B-E-E-N, after the helping verb. Then the verb will be in the same past participle, and verb is in the past participle form, so it is in the same. And then by, then subject will be the object here. I repeat, if there is helping verb and the main verb is in the past participle form, then we must know it is in the any kind of perfect. So, and how can we know that it is the present perfect or past perfect or future perfect? According to the auxiliary verb, we must remember, we must know. So object will be the subject and helping verb will be the same, and as the verb is in the past participle form, we must put been before the past participle form or after the helping verb. Then the verb is in the past participle form here, and the subject will be the object, and then we must put by before the object. Now let's see example. I have drawn a kite. So here kite will be subject, here kite, as a kite is a third person singular number, so have or has, so here takes has, and the verb is in the past participle form, so we must put after the helping verb been, then the verb will be past participle form, and by I will be changed into me. If there is had, and we must use there is had been. If there is will have, if there is will have, we must use here will have. And the another rules are the same. So this is perfect form. Let's see some examples. Let's see the rules of structure of future indefinite. And future indefinite tense is formed with some auxiliary verb, future indefinite tense. Subject and future indefinite tense shall will some modal auxiliary, so we use here as modals. So if there is the modals in the active voice, we must then shall. If there is shall, will, should, would, can, could, may, might, must, and the verb is in the present form, and then object we must know this is in the verb auxiliary verb is now in the modal form, and we must use object will be the subject, then the modals will be the same, the modals here, and we must take be after the modals. If there is shall will, there will be shall be will be. If there is should, there will be should be would be. If there is can could, there will be can be could be. If there is may or might or must, if there is will be may be, must be, might be. So the here shall will should do, and the main verb will be in the past participle form. The main verb will be in the past participle form, and the verb, and after the verb in past participle form, verb in the past participle, then we must use subject will be the object, and before the object we must use by. So if I repeat, if is in the active voice, if there are shall, will, should, would, can, could, may, might, must, ought to, then this will be the same here. If there is shall will, there will shall be will be. If there is should would, there will be should be would be. If there is can could be would be, can be could be, may be, might be, must be, ought to be, and the verb is in the past participle, will be in the past participle form, then by, and subject will be the object. Let's see some examples. We will play cricket. Here, cricket will be the subject. Cricket. Here, the modal auxiliary will. So here will be, and play will be in the past participle form, played, and by, then we will be changed into us. We will play cricket. Cricket will be played by us. If there is can, there will be can. Here there will be can. Any kind of modal auxiliary, if there is. So this modal will be the same here, and after the modals we must put or use be, then verb is in the past participle, will be in the past participle form. This is the modal auxiliary, use of modal auxiliary, active to passive. And we have discussed 12 forms active to passive in the tense of 12 forms, and we know indefinite when the verb is in the present indefinite or past indefinite. If this verb is in the present indefinite or the sentence is in the present tense, so present indefinite tense, so we must take am is use am is after the subject, and the verb will be the past participle form. If the verb is in the past indefinite tense, then we must use was, were, and verb in the past participle form. If the tense, the form of continuous form, then we must use auxiliary verb after the auxiliary verb being and verb in the past participle form. If the verb is in the perfect form, then we must use been, and the verb, if there is modals, then we must use after the modals be in the passive form, and verb will be always the same in the past participle form. And this is the end of today's lesson. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching today's lesson. Thank you.